Hey guys, welcome to the Stockpot, the SP, because we're your highest rarity in Weiss content. We are Soup for the Soul Sign. I got Brandon, Jason, Alejandro, and me. It has been a while because I happened to lose episode 7, the actual episode 7.
Not again. Okay, granted, this hasn't happened since our first couple weeks, so we had a good running track record.
Well, not again. We always had every episode.
Yeah, this is the first time
This
he's
was the
actually
first
lost
time
one.
like the audio just got bad. It got corrupted and gone.
Well, it's fine because last time was a little scuffed.
Yeah. But I imagine it's just because we were recording a lot within the last few weeks. So just like as it was saving a bunch of samples and files, it just got lost in the fold. So, I mean,
Well, talking about real quick what we were recording, we recorded that Everything You Need to Know about BCS 2023 video. Did numbers for us. Currently, as of the time of recording, it is 242 views.
Ooh, okay, so we actually went up more. Cool.
So, thank you to everyone who watched the video, and thanks to like the comments of very nice people, and to the one very nice soul who corrected Brandon's mistake.
there are two very nice souls who are correcting mistakes on
Let's go.
there. So
Listen.
one was for Brandon,
where
where he mistakenly said Kirito milled the top card of the deck
Oh,
and deals damage equal to the level +1.
And
And where it's actually cost +1.
yeah.
And the other one was for Ichika,
yeah.
8-choice Ichika, where we mentioned that if she is frontal attacked, not just any attacked, that you can pay 1 to look at top 2.
I thought it was frontal.
It's any.
It's any apparently.
It's
Oh.
any.
I thought it was frontal as well. I mean,
Mm.
if we took the time to literally go over every card's actual
Yeah.
text, you know,
yeah.
we had a lot to go over in those few weeks while writing and scripting and everything. I mean, getting away with 2, 3, 4. I mean, there's probably more out there. Mistakes in this video. I'm perfectly fine with that.
Yeah, it's fine. I mean, regardless, it still came out pretty well. Pretty good?
Yeah, I liked how it came out.
No major complaints, so that just means we have to consider what the next type of video like that is.
Here's my issue. This is the standard. This is the bar now that we have to lay out for a lot of it.
Listen, it's just a standard now, Jake. You have to accept it. You
I
know
mean,
that.
I do, and I do want every one of our videos to get better going forward.
Sure.
So I would like to keep this momentum going with this video.
Oh, of course, and like hopefully people will continue to look back on this to say like, okay, like for the next couple months they can go back, reference this video to just refresh themselves, get kind of used to the meta, whatever, what have you, and then who knows?
Like, honestly, like the decks mentioned, like they're not going anywhere for the rest of the season.
Provided no weird emergency ban in the middle of the season.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Knock on wood.
But
Hey,
like,
I'm
it'd be
just
pretty
saying.
cool if it did happen.
this is what I kind of wanted the video to be, a good reference point where like someone could go, I've been out for like 6 to 8 months. What's come out since then? And then you realize like SAO 10th anniversary, Overlord 2, Hololive 2, Slime 3, just like all of those came out within the last 8 months. Just absolutely heavy hitters of sets. So like being able to refer back to and just maybe see like a potential 50 card list that you could either play or play against. It was really nice to have that as like a grounding point for some Weiss players. Like I know there's a couple people who said it's like, you know what? There's like a deck that I just forgot came out, or like, oh, I didn't even know 8 Standby Hololive existed because you know Gura is so dominant.
Yeah, which for good reasons.
So it's a nice grounding point to have, and hopefully we can have something like this maybe every year for BCS going into it, but who knows?
Yeah, so I mean, I guess that opens up the question: do we even want to think about this for like Springfest, or do we just want to do that once a year?
So realistically, I think with like Springfest, we don't necessarily have to, just because. I mean, of course, people get competitive at Springfest. There are prizes on the line, like really cool stuff, like
Playmats, promos,
the Katara, like
other promos.
Yeah.
like-
But I mean, I think a lot of people take Springfest to just have a good time. At least we do.
We do.
At least we do. But if people like want that kind of video, then I mean, I guess there's no reason we don't.
Like, I think you can take reasonably from the BCS video and just say, I can just take 3 of these decks that aren't in the same set, throw them together in a team, and call it there. Like, provided the ban list doesn't shake things up too aggressively.
Yeah, or some random set that comes out like, oh, like we need to talk about
Of course,
this.
something
Well,
of that set.
yeah, I mean, like in between now and like presumably when Springfest would begin, the only things that are left that we know of right now are like what Revu, Azure Lane, Ari Ferretta,
Yep.
Guilty Gear.
Guilty Gear, which that one's a completely like we don't know anything
But then we
about.
also have Chainsaw Man and Spy Family.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the Chainsaw Man. and
So
Spy
there's definitely some sets to go over, and there's gonna be tons of stuff out there by a ton of other people who are going to talk about decks and stuff like that. We kind of like talking about our decks that we build more than like actively like meta decks, because I think we find more joy in those.
Well, yeah, because like
Um,
we like all the spicy, like, well, we haven't thought about this before. No one's really thought about this. Like, let's give it a shot.
So like we can talk about it. If people want like videos on that, please let us know. We can talk about like the heavier hitting decks in the format, but we kind of like talking about like what we play. Like Brandon and his 19 8-bar lists.
It
Or
just happens, all right? Don't
any subsequent future 8-bar lists that he's going to play in the future.
listen. Green
like-
is just a good color. Okay, I'm sorry.
Oh, it's the best color. It's so good that they've cut it out of multiple sets.
yeah, because obviously they don't deserve it.
That's fair.
Clearly.
But since last we've recorded, we have had a couple events happened. We had Toronto. There was the Austria BCS, and most importantly, the BCS Chicago or Rosemont, which is what Jason, Alejandro, and I attended.
Yeah, thanks, Brandon.
Yeah. Listen, I want to let you guys go and be free.
We could have had stock pod at Rosemont.
We could have.
You
ruined it.
I'm sorry.
Like that could have been really fun. But he had things that came up, so I don't fault him for that.
I do.
Okay.
Ouch.
Okay. But before we go over on what we did at Chicago, let's go over some results.
Yeah, let's take it back.
So at Toronto, there was 141 players. And of course, Avatar topped like 3 days after we recorded all of the Avatar stuff for Brandon.
Listen, I'm willing to take that one.
I mean, at least we were able to add like a subcut in that explains what happened. In 5th through 8th, we had Oz Kigura, Hololive, 8 Pants, Slime, and 2 Alice Silica SAOs. So that seems pretty standard. With 4th place, this was a surprise to a lot of people, but I think people just forgot that this deck was good. 8 choice, quintessential quintuplets.
So, yeah, right. Like, well, let's take a minute, right? So, every time I play that deck,
Keep in mind, Alejandro is a very avid Ichika enjoyer.
I like Ichika a lot, my favorite, but every time I played that deck, I'm not her favorite. She hates me, right? But I mean, let's be fair. Ichika's pretty good.
That entire line all the way up to the level 3 is very good. So I'm not surprised that we saw it. And the fact that we are continuing to see it, as we'll see later, is kind of insane.
So for me, it's not that I'm surprised we saw it. I'm surprised we saw it so soon.
Oh.
I didn't think it'd be in the first event.
Well, what about like you're surprised we see it in like these 100+ events?
I mean, yeah, like Ichika's got a lot of
like
to
Toronto
go
kicked
through.
off huge. Like I think Toronto had like 60 people last year. Now it has 141, which just shows either A, the game's growing with like the accessibility to meta decks right now, or more people are comfortable coming out. And I think it's a little bit of both.
I think it's a little bit of both, and also knowing that Worlds is not in LA this year.
That's probably
Yeah.
another huge drive.
I definitely think so.
Just knowing you could get a invite to Worlds in Japan,
Mhm.
that's pretty cool.
And then in 3rd place, we had another Oski Guba, as you would like to say.
Who's Gooba?
Is Gooba. I'm going to save 2nd place for last. In 1st place, we had 8 Gate Slime again. And then in 2nd place, what Brandon literally pogged at as soon as he saw the results go up. Would you like to announce what it was?
It was Bar Standby Avatar. I was so happy. You have no idea.
The things I want to say, I can't say. But
Yeah.
I'm gonna put it like this. When I first read that, I'm like, what? And I almost threw my phone out of like just pure like instinct.
What? Why? Hold on. Why?
Like that was just like sheer vindication for Brandon. I
It was.
think.
Listen. I mean,
I mean,
granted,
hey, he didn't. He
it wasn't me. That's the one thing. It wasn't me. So
he
I'm
hasn't made
kinda,
that deck.
No, I
He
didn't.
didn't consider making that deck. So
I didn't. I was. If anything, it was gonna be door standby for me. 'Cause I
Mhm.
just figured, okay, let's like
Just
mono.
like Ada Zula.
Just Ada Zulu. I figured that would have been the way to go. But like Toph is the better level 1 combo in the set. But it just like you said, it vindicates me. It makes me really happy that like Avatar was able to put up a number so soon. But like sort of like what Alejandro said before, like I'm just surprised it was so soon.
I was told that there was a lot of Avatar at Toronto.
Really,
Like I think a lot of people just tried to like sneak up with something that people wouldn't expect.
I can see it.
Whether or not this guy was hot, whether or not this deck is actually good. I mean, you've tested it. You can say it's a solid like 60% plus deck.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Like being able, like really any deck that can abuse the Sokka is just going to have a better testing result. And the fact that you can theoretically just have multiple Toph combos go off while also getting off the Sokka, like the combos within the deck in the first early stages of the game could very much work and get you a lot of advantage.
Yeah, I saw this deck. I was just like, I don't think there's anything super special about it, but I also don't think there's anything bad. Avatar does have a decently flushed out zero package. It's not the best. It's not the worst though.
Yeah,
Along with the rest of utility, it's just like it's kind of not super special, but it's not underpowered.
yeah, exactly. Like I do wish the zero game was a little better, but then I think at that point, then like it might be pushing the deck a bit too much. It's just like the level 1s and the level 2s, like just being able to have your Toph combos, having your 2/2 Azula, sacking off your Sokkas for multiple attacks, and then personally, I was surprised that they went with Azula over Zuko at first, but then like again, the 3/2 Azula just also sacks off the Sokka, so you just get multiple attacks, you get all these other burn effects. Like it just works, and it's less resource intensive.
I mean, just like cards that have been banned that are not in some sets that are not banned in other sets are going to be good.
Yeah, like we can really at this point, it's just gonna be a waiting game of will Sokka ever get touched on the ban list for whatever reason, and like who knows?
Well, what I'm concerned about, and we can get into like a ban list later, is how much slime has shown up in these top eights.
It's been like so. Personally, I always thought slime was a decent deck. Like the fact that people have shown up time and again with either Pants book at like yeah, because most of last year was like Pants book. Like it's always shown up at least once or twice.
Every slime deck that was up there was gate and book, aside from one or two 8 standby believers still, which that deck is also still insanely good.
Listen, that Benny Maru, I'm still like a big advocate. I really like that card. That's
Yeah.
just me.
On top of that, just Dragonoid Melom is insane.
Yeah,
And Draco Buster Melom is also just an insanely effective way of ending the game.
yes. I mean, I think the 8 gate slime, like it's like SAO Alice adjacent, where like you're gonna have this really powerful 2/1 that's just gonna be sitting on the board for a while, and like it's just gonna give you advantage, and then you just have like this really explosive late game if you can get it to go off well. Like
Yeah, it's like fair Alice from what a lot of people say, and this is how I evaluate it, because
yeah,
you're not playing it on level 1, but you're definitely getting consistently bigger
yeah,
because the card's a 10-5, Murin's a 10-5, and then it has 2 very easily attainable back row support cards that make it a 12-5 hexproof.
that I think is what really puts it over the edge is the fact that it's hexproof. Like
Yeah, the fact that like Titans can't get to it or anything like that, it definitely helps. But I think that it's just a good deck all around, and I think it's either I'm hoping that nothing happens to it, and I don't see a reason for anything to super happen to it.
I don't think anything's gonna happen to it.
But if you keep seeing top 8s with 2, 3, 4 slime decks in it, there's definitely a case at that point.
Yeah, and I think like once we get to Austria and Chicago, we can sort of like start seeing the trends of like which decks are actually topping more often, like which are the ones we gotta look out for. Because like I think you're right, this one's probably gonna be this isn't gonna be the last time it's gonna top. Like it's definitely gonna get another top 8, probably another top 4. We'll see if it gets another win.
All right, so we went over Toronto. Jason, do you wanna rattle off what happened in Austria?
Austria doesn't. There were only 633 players, and we've had our 2 events so far that have been 100 plus. So take Austria with like a grain of salt.
Yeah.
Because I said there were less players. They did have a couple decks. It looks this probably has the cleanest spread of all the toppings so far. Because there was a Hololive, there was a Bang Dream, there was a 7 Deadly Sins, there was an SAO, there was a Denmachi, another 7 Deadly Sins, a Sao,
Another SAO.
and then a Quince. Hololive top with another H-side version of Oski Chaco, which uses the Chaco combo and it goes more into an aggressive type of build compared to the Polka combo. Xmas Star Cosme is just a deck that's been known. It plays a little better than the Yukino one due to the effect that it can mill more off the warehouse events, and it plays more of an event-centric deck while also playing the Cosme to prevent auto burns, which could have helped. You had your classic Escanor deck. You had a Silica in 4th. You had the Denmachi deck, which surprised that showed up. That's why I said like within the 63 people, it might not be. Also, it's a different like country than America. They play games a little bit different than we do here. So that's why I think the spread is so spread out.
Mm-hmm.
You had an Elizabeth Hendrickson.
Another
Kirito, and then the 2-1 Itsuki and the 3-2 Itsuki. Which is very different than the 1-0 Itsuki because the 2-1 only allows 4 cards to hand compared to being able to triple it.
So I want to talk a little bit about the Elizabeth Hendrickson deck, only because this is the 2nd year in a row something like this has happened, where so you imagine you see 7 Deadly Sins, you would figure, okay, it'd be Escanor, it'd only be Escanor, but there was one tournament last year, I forget exactly where it was, where Hendrickson topped. I'm like, why? It's just like such a weird.
Well, Escanor didn't exist last.
No, it did.
It did.
It did.
No, it came out like in December.
I think it did it in the Spring Fest.
Yeah.
Well, but if we're talking about like BCS,
Yeah, I think the Hendrickson list popped up in a Spring Fest.
okay.
It probably was a Spring Fest. I can't remember off the top of my head.
But I do remember seeing the list and going, "Oh my gosh, Hendrickson!"
It's also appeared before in other things that people have decided to play Hendrickson.
I also think it was a European one.
I believe European. I think Europeans like the 7 Deadly Sins decks a lot.
Mm.
Well, I think the IP is also a lot more popular there than this year.
So they tend to play those decks more.
Mm.
Which is why, like I said, I think the popularity and what certain decks do, because every country has their own ways of playing, which is why I think this if you were to compare Austria to Rosemont and Toronto, you'd see 2 vastly different types of things.
And we're obviously going to see different things because I believe the Philippines' first event is this upcoming weekend of the 23rd
It is the
and 24th.
Yep.
Okay.
We have a few more events showing up within the next couple of weeks as well.
The Philippines this week, and then White Plains next week.
White Plains, Costa Rica, which
will be the week
will
after.
Also be after White Plains.
White Plains.
How have they not branded that to Weiss Plains?
Plains.
give it time.
That would have been amazing.
It fits.
That would have been amazing.
Weiss is like white,
and then
right?
Vancouver, Houston that got added late. That was added about a month
There's
ago.
still plenty of events before we even get to
yeah.
Vancouver and Houston.
Yeah, Mexico, Duluth, Georgia, and that's just the North American ones. We have Europe and Asia.
Yeah, there's Australia, Netherlands, so Spain.
So then, most recently, for us, was Rosemont, and we had another condensed spread at Rosemont. So in
Before we go into that, we attended this event.
Yeah,
we did. So I'm gonna let them talk about their list that they played because I was the last one to drop out of our group.
So
I'm gonna let the 2 go first, and then we'll talk about me, and then we won't talk about Brandon because he didn't show up.
Yeah.
Well, that's fine. I still had an undefeated record, so I'll take
the
that.
first to drop out of all of us.
It was definitely me. I was on 8 Gate Slime, as a lot of people were, and as a lot of people in the top 8 had shown. I had, I think, played decently my round 1. where I was playing against an Oski Polka Guerrillist, and I was playing a level ahead the entire time. I was at 2-3, 2-3 or 2-4, and I had a full Mirren board. I had my stock set up. I had my hand set up, and my opponent just landed 2 Guras and called it a day there. They attacked, pitched 1, paid 1 pitch, paid 2 pitch 1, dealt 2, the 2 stuck, dealt 1, 1 canceled, dealt another 1 stuck, and then the 4 stuck again. So there was the level to equalize it. And then they attacked again, dealt 2, that stuck, dealt 1, that canceled, dealt 1, that canceled, and then the last one hit, and I died at 3.
The unfortunate cancels on the burn ones.
It was just like, everything that could have gone wrong for that instance just kind of went wrong for me. So I can't super complain about it just because, like, that's just the nature of how Gura is.
Weiss Schwarz, let's go.
But, it's one of those things that I am kind of upset about just because my round 1 got sacked like that. In round 2, I was against 8 Door Itsuki, a matchup that I am very familiar with because of our good old buddy Jason. And so I had been absolutely insane this entire game. I was at 1-6. I had my full Murins in my hand with a climax, getting ready to go into my next turn. My opponent hit level 3, so I'm instantly thinking I'm fine. When they attacked, when they set up 2,
Death flag raised.
When they set up 2 Itskis, they attacked. They dealt 3. They looked at the top 2 cards of my deck, discarded 2 climaxes, and then the Itsuki swung for 3. I was like, okay, that kind of sucks. I'm at 2-5, whatever. Who cares? They then attacked again, dealt 3. The top 2 discarded 2 climaxes, and then dealt 3 one more time.
Jake, no.
I was at 3-4. The last attack canceled, but I had not gotten a full setup turn. And so it was one of those instances where the damage was just too great to get through. On top of that, like, I pushed them to 3-5. They then had 3 cards in hand going into the last turn. They couldn't clock. They drew a card. They played the Itsuki. They got the climax, and they were able to Itsuki me again. So it was unfortunate where I just kind of ran into some bitter luck. Where the biggest chunks of damage resolved and the effects that could mitigate the small damages were not for me. And we'll get into this later, but I think that it was just one of those. It wasn't a me day, where it's just like the cancels were in the wrong places at the wrong time, and someone asked me, they're just like, "Aren't you like mad about it?" I was like, "This is Weiss. This is kind of what I signed up for by playing this game." So that just kind of it just kind of, I had to take it on the chin and keep playing. And as soon as I got my second loss, I got to go back to the room and watch football. So I was happy. I ate pizza, watched football, drank beer, and that's all I could ask for, right?
The true Weiss experience.
It's true.
So I'm gonna move it on to Alejandro, who was not too far behind me.
Yeah, no, unfortunately, no. I played a Kanata Guba at this event. A deck that I felt pretty comfortable with going in.
Deck's still solid.
I played a bunch of games with it. I didn't have any like major issues. But I guess the deck decided to throw that all out the window for my first game. Cause I mean, listen, it's a combination of the deck like collapsing in on itself, and my opponent just had it. He played the Xion that sends things to the bottom of the deck, right? And he would do that for like all my like
the Hololive Xion.
Yeah, Hololive Xion.
Yeah.
Yes, that's right.
The 0/0 from set 1.
Yes, because he was okay. So yeah, he was playing Oski Polka Guba. Something we see is a trend. Is becoming a trend.
It's trending a lot more right now.
Yeah, it's becoming a much bigger trend over here. And so he has a 0 Xion that when she's reversed sends her opponent to the bottom, I believe.
Yes.
Something like that.
It's a 500 too, so
yeah, it's a 500. So it's very easy.
Everything's reversing.
Very easy,
except for Hawk.
So he'd always have it. He'd always play it, and I couldn't get any value out of any of like my cards. Like specifically like Aqua and Aki. And that definitely made that matchup rough. But I mean, at the end of the day, also just my deck just said, you know what, no, it's okay. We'll sit this one out. We'll sit this one out because I didn't really cancel a whole lot that game either. So I mean, it is what it is. You sometimes you just get those games, and unfortunately, that just happened to be my first game of the day. Second game was against Tokyo Revengers. It was.
Oh, what did you do to this guy?
Listen, that man, he was dead and he just kept stabbing him. I just don't understand.
Listen, I gotta confirm the kill, right? I mean, stock soul into double. I mean, stock swap into double Gooba.
Yeah, you didn't need to do that to him.
Yeah.
He was. I think
he was
when
also like 3-5, I
when
think.
we looked over,
Listen,
he
you
was
gotta be sure.
when I walked over, he was at 3-5. I said, "He's already dead, man. You don't have to like.
You gotta
kick
be
him while he's
sure.
down."
I remember I came over and Jason was watching and I look over his shoulder and then Jason just turns around and goes, he doesn't need to do that. And I'm just
and
like,
that's when, I said that is when he drops the Matsuri stock swap, and I said, "There is no need. You already played 2 Guras. Do you really need the Matsuri also?"
I really want to know what that guy's thought process was.
You swung
Well, listen.
Gurud
So here's
and
the
killed
thing,
him.
right? He's a very nice guy. He was really cool. And but I will say this: every time I canceled, he was audibly upset, and it's just like, man, come on. Like, I don't like my opponent canceling either, but it's part of the game.
You don't have to gasp or groan or
it's
sigh.
like it's part of the game, and I don't hold it against him. He told me that he was like
A little salty.
he was like kind of new to the game, like about
Okay.
3 months in. But I mean, he played Tokyo Revengers to the best of his ability. I don't think he did anything inherently like super wrong or anything. But I mean, I was excited. I was excited to O2 drop too because I was like, I also get to go eat pizza, and I get to piss off Jake in the hotel room while watching football, right? And so he's like he's got his own going first, going with second cards, and it's Overlord. I'm like, oh, blessed be, blessed be. I don't know what Overlord does. I didn't bother reading any other cards. I don't care.
You also didn't even watch the video that explained what Overlord.
You're right, I
Overlord
didn't.
does.
So I was just like, oh, he's playing Overlord, and then he mulligans Tokyo Revengers. I was like, oh, man,
a good matchup.
I was like, ah, man, I just gotta make sure I get the Matsuri at some point.
It's true.
You're
right.
just dead grip it in hand. It's just like,
I mean,
you're just like,
Not
oh,
that
clock,
he was already done when you double Gura.
listen,
just
like,
clock, draw 2, see a Matsuri. Well, this
While
is
he's
it.
at
listen,
Overlord.
with how that last game went, I was just like, I gotta make sure this is over.
Yeah, you.
I was like, this is a good matchup. If I don't win this,
If my opponent stock swapped me for like 15 and played 2 Guras, I probably would just say handshake.
You
got it.
literally the body was on fire and
Yeah.
like in a hole, and you were just like, yeah, I think we need to run it over a couple more times.
Hey man,
So,
listen, it is what it is.
yeah.
But the third game I played that day is my favorite. Was against again, Oski Polka Gooba.
a deck that's trending up, right?
Yeah. So here's the thing, right? My guy sits in front of me. He pulls out his mat. It's a top 8 Quince mat,
Oh, he
Oh,
knows.
no.
and
No.
I'm like, oh damn. This guy knows what he's doing. And then I see his mulligan, right? I'm like, oh, this is gonna be one uphill battle. But it was it was a good game. It was a back and forth. He was at 2-5 at one point. I was like, I'm not ready to face even one Gooba. Like my deck is in shambles. So I just throw a bunch of zeros out on the board. I side into his things just to get the stock
Just
and
+3 stock.
Just,
Some of the best turns in the game are just +3 stock.
listen, I mean at 2-5, right? That's a weird position to be in, right? Because he could Ricky, he could clock and then Ricky, and get to 3, but those are resources that you may not want to use up just to get to level 3. But no, it came down pretty close. I almost had him. luckily for him, his cancels were all in the right places. He canceled the bigger sources of damage and just took the small burn ones. And I did not cancel
Just-
in the right times.
Just nothing you can do about it. Just,
No. Listen, that guy was super cool.
you were just vibing that match.
Listen, it's clear that we both were just having a good time playing this match. If you're out there, man, and you remember that game, my hat's off to you. I really would hope to see you again in another one of these events. Because that was a very fun match, and to get paired up with you, it was truly an honor. It was
Thank you, sir.
truly an honor. Thank you, sir.
Thank you
See,
for
we
your
can
service.
probably find out
I'm saluting.
who the person was, based off like their top 8 from last year.
Listen,
You also can look in Bushy Navi.
Oh yeah, you can look
Oh,
in
you
Bushy Navi.
Mhm.
They have
It
made it
actually tells you-
easier to find people.
It tells you their Bushy ID, like who you played against. It's really
True.
nice.
Also, so like a quick interjection. So you guys did have to use that this tournament. Right?
Oh
Yes,
my gosh.
It was the best thing ever.
all right. So
Oh my gosh.
okay. So listen, Bushy Navi
When
Is-
it works,
it's a massive blessing.
We were going to check in through the hotel. From
Yeah.
the hotel, I'll tell you that
Oh,
right now.
So-
that's broken.
So
right?
here's the thing, right? That's a
that's the massive upside.
okay.
that's the massive upside, and that's a rare case
okay.
because the thing is that our hotel was right across from the convention.
Yeah.
center.
They
Oh.
headed over. They checked in for stuff, and they started to head over. They're like, "Jake, are you gonna join?" I was like, "I gotta like register my deck, and I'll be over there." And like I was just like kind of chilling on my bed, looking at my deck list. I fell back asleep. I woke up. I was like, "Oh gosh, I gotta get ready for this event." And so like I took out my deck list and I put everything in order, and I was like, "This is my deck list. This is my thing." I saved my deck list in my deck log, and then it was like, "Would you like to check in for this event?" I was like, "Of course." And so I did, and it was beautiful. I checked in for the event, and I checked in definitely before other people, which is insane because other people were definitely at the venue, and I was still laying in bed. It was great. It was fantastic. Jason checked in from the hotel. I think you. I think
did.
Alejandro
I did as well.
I
checked in
did
from the
it, and I
hotel.
told them I could do that, and they were like, "We don't have to wait in line." I said, "No, you don't have to wait in line
Like,
anymore."
and I was like, "This is amazing."
Yeah, but
And then
but
I showed up to the venue
Yeah.
at 10:45.
It's
No,
Jake's fault.
at 9:45.
It's Jake's fault.
Yeah.
I knew
9:45.
it.
15 minutes before the scheduled posted start of this event,
Yeah.
and round 1 did not start until 10:50.
I don't think that was Bushy Navi's fault though.
I think it was a collective of Bushy Navi, people not submitting their buy cards correctly, people not registering
Oh,
correctly.
The buy cards.
the big problem was the buy cards, and people weren't registering, and the one thing is they spent the first like 20 minutes while we were waiting calling for this person to come up, and that person never showed up.
They just refused.
I think they were like, "Oh, my buy card's good," and just left or something.
yeah, that might be it.
And then, so I also heard a thing where buy cards were being disputed because they weren't ran through the Bushy Navi app,
Which makes sense.
Oh.
which pseudo makes sense, pseudo doesn't, because like, what if you're in the part where just like, the Bushy Navi app just is down for that day
Mhm.
or something like that, and you have to fill it in later. It just never got to, or they did the buy card tournament yesterday and they were going to fill out the results today because that
Yeah.
definitely happened. There are instances where people just like got screwed over on their buy cards, and that sucks. But they were trying to resolve it when the event was supposed to start.
Yeah, that's not great.
So another thing that I saw through online, like people's complaints about it,
Yeah.
was they were talking about how they apparently quote unquote registered wrong,
Mm-hmm.
and I went through that registration process. We all, 3 of us here went through that registration process.
Our entire group, our group of
Yeah,
6 went through
Our
it.
group went through it, and listen, I'm sorry to say, but the registration process is very simple. It's very easy. I find it a little difficult to I find it a little difficult that you just messed up because you weren't sure.
I did it half dazed, putting my deck together in my bed. If I was able, I showed my
Yeah.
phone to Jason. I was like, please make sure I did this correctly. And he just looked at my phone. He's like, yeah, no, you did it fine. And I was like, cool. If I can do it, then it's literally 2 buttons that say register. They tell you to give
It's
you
really
your deck
easy.
list. And then it doesn't get much simpler than that.
Yeah.
I even resubmitted my deck list because I got a foil that I could have added to my deck so I could play like a uniform pair, and still got it correct.
So
Yeah.
Huh.
it baffles me, but I think it's something that Bushi should look into in terms of future proofing.
So here's the thing, right? Criticize absolutely criticize Bushy when things go wrong,
Yeah.
right? Like, don't blindly, look up to Bushy and be like, "Oh my God, Bushy is so cool. I love Bushy so much." But like
Who
at the same,
blindly looks up to them?
I don't think anyone does that.
maybe you're right. Maybe you're right, and I'm a fool. But like, you know, criticize them when
Like
it's
criticism is due.
yeah, like when it's their fault. Like, I'm sorry again, and nothing against anybody, right? But if a lot of it sounds like it's user error,
Mm-hmm.
right? So that's just my thoughts on it.
And there's definitely things, unaccounted for. There's definitely bugs that happen and stuff that happens. Like with technology, stuff is going to inevitably go wrong
Yes.
for someone somewhere.
Sure. Yeah.
But I think they should have like a backup process and be like, and send the notification being like 5 minutes before the event, hey, your event's about to start. And they say, hey, but if you didn't get this event, you're not playing. Like, if you did not get this notification, you are not playing. Come to the front desk if you did not get this notification. And I feel like that would make a lot more sense.
I mean,
Yeah.
listen, it would make sense if, along with Bushy Navi, they had like the old way of doing it.
Like the card badges and the...
Like,
So they
yeah.
just didn't have any of that at
No,
all.
no.
Oh,
No,
okay.
badges.
No, so like it would make sense if they did both, because of course, it's like you mentioned earlier. Like, what if there's a day where Bushy Navi just isn't working?
Mhm.
You know what I mean? And it's simple as, well, I think it would be as simple as, oh, you go up, you register. Oh, you haven't submitted your deck list yet. Here's the deck code of the deck I'm going to be playing that day.
They just get a bunch of like the errata cards that they're collecting and just write a number in Sharpie and
Yeah.
give it and just give it to you.
God.
And they're just like, we didn't bring those badges for you guys because we thought we'd never have to use them again. So here's a misprinted HoloLive promo with the number 43 written on it. Here's your number, guy. Like your
What?
number 44, and here's a Card Fight Vanguard error print.
Yeah.
And it's just like the secret
So-
that's worth like an insane amount of money.
Yeah.
So-
Sure.
There's definitely like an elegant solution for everybody involved.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like going forward though, that's gonna, like, Bushy Navi is, I mean, as we see now, Bushy Navi is it,
Yeah.
right? Like,
Well,
that-
these apps for organized play
yeah,
are so convenient.
yeah,
Like the fact that I didn't need to call a judge as soon as my matches were over, I didn't have to like
Yeesh.
wait in despair. Like after like 02, it was
That-
just like she filled out the thing. She's like, I won. I go on my app and I go, yep, I lost. I'm going back to the hotel room. Like that was
Yeah,
the best thing ever.
you're right. I forgot all about that. Yeah, you don't even need a judge to come up and verify
Like, you don't need
the
a
results.
judge. Like the judges can go around and do what they're supposed to do, which is
Mhm.
tell us our playmats are not allowed. So like we were able to get. I feel like the event ran probably like 10% faster
Mhm.
altogether because you're not waiting on judges to go to every table because everyone's calling for someone to sign their slip,
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and that's really nice. It's a quality of life thing, and it definitely helps out. It takes a little bit off for the judges too, which is nice, so they're not just like constantly running around and stealing my pens. And it definitely helps with the efficiency of the event. But that one day when things go wrong, that is going to suck.
Yeah.
Like,
Hopefully that day does not happen anytime soon.
I'm hoping that it happens for like a Spring Fest where it's like mega low stakes. If it's for like a large event, I'm hoping it happens for like a Spring Fest. I've heard issues of it on like local event scales,
Mm-hmm.
but unless it's for like a buy card or like let's say a Shadowverse Invitational,
Yeah.
it doesn't really matter. Kind of like there's not like a points qualifier or threshold for like if you play at local events.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of like a non-issue for that. They'll run it through whatever other organized play software they have. Because if one game store runs one game, they probably have like 6 other games they run.
I would think so. Yeah.
So it's just kind of one of those. But before we move on to this tangent, Jason, what did you play?
So there were 6 of us that went.
7 actually.
7 of us.
7.
Oh yeah, right. Andrew.
Yeah, we picked up an Andrew.
I was doing you. I think all of us were, except for me, were done playing basically out by like round 3.
Everyone had gone 2-2 or worse.
By like round 3, I was XO. So yeah, I was the lone
Just-
survivor of our group.
Just Jason things. Got it. Okay.
I was playing 8-door Itsuki, Uh literally we were having a good time that day. First 2 matches went really well. I played against 8 standby Luna,
The baby.
the
Fitting.
baby.
Very
Oh.
fitting.
50-pound babies.
I was like I was like worried, especially because he was like canceling like really well early. But I started getting into the groove because like he was standbying. He swung into a card with Luna, and I sacked it with the Itsuki backup to kill his 3-2 that he just standbyed out.
Oh.
So the Luna couldn't get the reverse off. So that was very nice. So I think saving myself a damage there was good. I played Ichika round 2. The problem with that match, he was eating real well. Like I thought I was playing against Alejandro for how much he was eating
Yeah.
Ichika.
I agree.
Like I thought that was crazy. Now the big one was round 3. I faced 7 Deadly Sins.
Really?
It wasn't Escanor though.
No.
It was Elizabeth Meliodas.
Oh.
So now I'm worried
okay.
because
Full
Yeah.
counter.
because
Full
other than the
counter.
full counter, if the Meliodas has the 2-1 set up, I can't Itsuki burn.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going through it. It's a close game. He gets the Meliodas first, right? He gets the level 3 first. He plays only 2, so I was like, okay, good. I have like an open lane just in case. I don't. He swings. I'm at like 3-4 at this point. I lived. I was like, I can't. I don't have enough to like push for game because I know where his deck state is. I can't triple Itsuki.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna just see if I can just kill him with flat damage, because I don't have the combo. I swing open. He goes to like 3. Goes to like 3-3. I swing. I'm like, oh, it didn't kill him.
Mm-hmm.
So I have like two cards left in deck before that first swing. 1 door, one climax. I'm like, there's
One
no way
opportunity.
there's no way the climax could be on top, right? Swing, first check door. I'm like, oh god, I'm going to die here probably.
Mhm, of course.
So I'm like, okay, I don't want to take the risk on like counter burn. So I swing the next one. He burns 2. I go to 1 card basic left in deck after the attack. He cancels. So now I'm at 3-4. And I'm like, well, this is going to be rough. First attack, he sides into my 1-0, deals 1. I go to 3-6. I have to cancel like a maniac. Sides into one of my 3-2s because he knows he has a soul sign. He checked the top 2.
Okay.
Deals 1, cancel. I'm like, all right. I have an open lane because I crashed my card into the Melodies because they're huge. Swings Melodies for 4, cancel on the first climax. But he set up another full counter.
God, Jason.
I'm like, okay.
Just like staring down the barrel.
This
of
is the
God.
scariest thing in the
Like-
world. I play my 3-2 combo, burn 3, he cancels, eats the next 3. He goes about 3-5. He's got 1 cancel left in deck. So I'm like, oh great, I didn't kill him off that because he canceled one of the sets of 3. And I'm like, okay.
Mhm.
Swing next, pays Melodious, full counter, burn 2, cancel on 2. And I'm like, okay. But then he cancels my attack, and I'm like, son of a gun. But at this point, he has no climaxes left in deck. He's got 4 cards in deck. Regardless of what happens, he goes to 3-6, he'll lose. If he takes 3 or 4, I swing. All right, like, here we go, risk it. Full counters, burn 2, I cancel on 2. Hit soul sign, deal 4.
You're the luckiest dude I think I've ever
I
seen.
saw that happen, and I think I was like, wow, this could be this day is something else. But I was also scared because it happened something like that happened so early. Because I'm like, well, that might have been the luckiest game I could have had all day.
Jason zapped my luck from my second game.
Oh,
and took it.
Absolutely.
So I had 3 losses. I played 7 rounds that game. I decided to save the ace with our friend Tucker to see if he would top 8. All 3 of my losses were to Hololive.
What kind of Hololive?
So 2 Ozkiguras and 1 Caligura.
Based.
Yeah, that's
So
Based.
the first Hololive
Wild.
matchup I lost, it was a very, very close game.
Was it
Mm.
Caligura?
No, it was Ozkigura. And I lost this one because I made 2 misplays.
Mhm.
The first one is I played my 2-1 Itsuki, and the thing that Itsuki also does is on placement, I could pay 1, pitch 1, search for my door climax. I was under the assumption, I was like, I'm against Gura. I may not go to 2, but he might go to 3. I don't want to die if I remove a climax from my deck.
Okay.
So I don't do that. I go through. Well, he goes to 3. He Guras. I go to 3-6. Here's the problem. I don't have my 3-2 door. So I double Itsuki, still can't find it. Now, I only have. I know if I refresh, I'll lose.
Well, the most important part about that 3-2 Itsuki is it also does not heal on placement.
Does not heal on placement. So I was like, I should heal. I didn't heal. I went to see if I could just find a 3rd door and maybe get lucky. Problem is when I checked the top 3 on those the Itsuki, I saw 2 doors. So now I can't even potentially get the hand to do it. So I climax swap into my combo. That's the other thing. I didn't have the combo, so I was like looking for it. I had to forcefully climax swap for it.
That's so rough.
Now, I know he's at like 3-2, and essentially I could win with 5 damage. I left all my level 3s there. I should have moved one of my 0s up front so I could deal 2. Because this is how it goes. He burns 3, eats 3, cancels on 3. Burns 3, cancels on 3. Deal 3, cancels on 3. Next swing vanilla for 3, cancels on 3.
Oof.
That's
Where
so
that
rough.
last attack, if it was just the 2 damage, because I didn't check a swing, it would have just killed.
Just
But
ran away with the game if
that-
he did that. Yeah.
That's just
Yeah.
hindsight. I mean, it was a really close match because Gura did so much, and Itsuki is just as scary because burn 3 with the Mocha effect afterwards is just like. The problem is when I Mocha'd, I saw no climaxes, so he really just had to cancel on that 3rd swing, or
Yep.
he loses the game.
Yep.
Just one of those unfortunates again.
The other 2, like again, I think Hololive really just wanted to miracle cancel me all game because the next Hololive, I think he couldn't even Gura. His Callies were off. I was playing a very good game against him with Itsuki. I kept clean cutting my 2 soul to the back, which is my MVP of that whole day. You don't understand how many times I played the card that got an extra soul for using an act and sent someone a whole level from 0 because of that card.
Which one? The green one?
The green, the Ricky.
Yeah.
Just sending it just I was dealing 4 and the 4 was sticking.
Okay, shoot.
He doesn't Gura turn. I get the Itsuki turn. I use all 3 Itsukis. He cancels on 3 all the time on that last set of damage. He Guras. I couldn't survive. I end up losing that game.
Killing your bracket at that point.
So I'm at this because I won my I won round. I lost round 4, won round 5 against an 8-stay by Nino.
Okay.
I lost round 6. I'm still technically in it. An X2 could make it. It's a chance.
Like if all of your losses were like everyone made it to top 8, yes.
My losses were people who were playing like those top tables.
Okay.
Played another one, and I was telling the guy, I was like, listen, I'll tell you right now, I've been unfortunate against every Gura player. And the guy was like, please don't say that to me because I've had a day where I just eat damage. So I was like, okay, this might be the day. I don't see my door finisher at all. But it's fine because he has 1 climax and 5 cards. He's at level 3. He cancels. He cancels on 3. He takes the 2. I just need the deal. Literally, I swing for 2. He cancels on 2 at 3-6, and I'm like, yeah, the Gura is just gonna answer back and kill me. Well, no, he actually triple Gurred me, and I lived through the triple Gura turn. I had like a reasonable. I was able to clock 2. Like I lived at 3-4, so I had to just pray that I could cancel going forward. He just puts us. I open board because all my things lose the Gura. I open board because I'm like, I'm having this thing because it should hit for a soul sign every single time.
Yeah.
You know what this just shows about my unfortunate games against Hololive. He plays the Rene, looks at top card, a non-soul sign, and I'm like, there's no way. He hits me for 2. We both checked my deck afterwards. It would have been if he hit a soul sign, it would have been climax, cancel on 2, cancel on 2, cancel on 2.
Every single time.
So it's crazy. The deck that plays 30-something soul signs just had to have the non-soul sign on that top check.
It was a sign, man.
It was
Absolute
brutal.
sign.
No, it was a soul sign.
Yeah. It was crazy, like because I was playing on like the higher end of the tables because I think
Your breakers might have been higher.
my breakers were like really higher. Like I was like where I was like at the top tables a lot. But what I was seeing at these tops, I told you when I face 7 Nelly, since I look to my left, I see Avatar versus Slime, but it like Master of Elements Avatar.
Based.
And then I look to my
Action-based.
right, and it's Dragon Maid versus Hololive, and I'm like, where
As
am
in,
I right now?
Like 8 bar?
Yeah, I'm like, where am I right now? And the person playing Dragon Maid, we are like near the same team. So I kept seeing, I was like, damn, the Dragon Maid player is smoking people with that combo.
Listen, man, you just
Um,
big damage.
but it was crazy because our friend
Demons
Tucker,
go burr.
and let me just, like before we go into the tops, I'll just tell you, like, if you think you were gonna see a lot of Alice, I saw no Alice's.
Really?
No Alice.
Like,
I
that's
did
so-
not see too much of it out there. I saw a couple people.
I saw
on
people
it.
playing
Yeah.
Overlord. Overlord players were there, but I think they were just. I think every Overlord game I walked over to, that Overlord player ate like 16 and lost. Like every
Jeez.
Overlord player,
Something the deck is not supposed to do.
I think I was just watching Overlord players just eat damage, and I think that's why they weren't like at the top tables, like
Mhm.
or topping. Our friend Tucker, after round 3, saw only slime matches, and he was playing slime. He played the mirror for 6 rounds in a row.
Out of his
That's
8 rounds, he
so-
saw 6 slime.
That's so rough.
It
Actually,
is crazy. The slime is like very like this slime deck is very good. I'm really mad I didn't play it because the prep to BCS, it's the only deck I saw. I played against Jake and I played against Tucker. They both were playing slime. I think I would if I went in that match, I'd be like, well, I know how to handle this one. No, I'm dealing with Ichika, but he ate just like you did. So I was like, oh, okay, I guess Ichika, that doesn't change.
It's part of the deck, except for the very select few.
Yeah.
Yep.
It was Rosemont was very interesting to see like the diversity like going up of like when you start hitting that like when you hit that round 5 and I started looking at the top, it was like slime versus slime, slime versus slime, slime versus slime, slime versus slime.
They just kept
Color
killing
Live
each other.
slime. It was like crazy because I think all the Alice players were like offing themselves early. Tucker's friend was gonna sit next to me. He was X1. He was the guy. Yeah, man, the round's yours. I'm gonna go get food. And I was like, what is happening?
Well,
Alice
listen,
players
that
just
guy-
don't want to be here.
No, that guy is crazy. Because he like for round 2, he was sitting next to me. He started his game like way before the round started.
That's true.
I'm like, I'm looking at my opponents like, did they like call? Did they say like you could start? Like, was it, like
that game was over. Like when the match was called, basically, right? With 10 minutes into the round, they were done.
Basically, yeah. I'm like, I'm like, but it's just like, okay, buddy, you do
So,
it. You
He's
do
trying to
it.
speed run. He's here to go.
Listen, they were just-
he
they
was
just didn't wanna go time.
crazy. But yeah, that's like from that experience. Very good overall. I did better than what I thought I was gonna do because the lead up. Oh my god.
Well, Jason was playing it.
I think I played like 50 something games. I won like 6 of them.
Jason.
Every time I was swinging, it was like door. I was seeing too many doors.
Yeah, he was not having a great testing sessions going into this.
But like the thing I took away from my testing sessions were, it sucked losing, and I was like getting scared because I was like, I can't be on this loss streak going into this tournament. But I kept saying, I said, I look at this game, I looked at what I'm playing. I said, I don't think I did a single thing wrong. I'm literally just eating damage. I'm getting unlucky on my trigger checks, and that's all I can do. And just hope for that's like I think in those testings I didn't level 1 combo as much. I level 1 combo maybe once or twice in a couple of the games.
Honestly, you don't need him. Just
Oh yeah.
just deal damage. Kill your opponent.
Yeah,
Sure.
Alright.
So with Rosemont, with the 192 players,
Yeah,
That's obscene.
Yeah.
with 8 rounds, so a good amount of rounds for 192
you start hitting
players.
those fifth. Once you start hitting that 5th end, you're like, do I really have to play 3 more of
I
this?
remember, and we talked about this before. We took for granted like those 5-6 rounds
Dude.
BCS
Take
that
me
we went
back.
to about a year ago.
Please.
Now
take
they're
me
all
back.
7-8 rounds.
It's so painful.
And so it's just
Dude.
like, and then if you make it, you top 8, you have to play 3 more rounds. Like if you go all the way.
It's crazy.
So with Rosemont, on 5th through 8th, we had Oskigura, Shizu, Murin, Shizu, Slime. So the guy brought in the book finisher,
Oh, okay.
and then played a slightly higher than average memory package.
Okay.
And then there was a Shizu Murin set 3 Rimuru choice,
which Jake should play.
which I have looked at that list and gone, that's tempting. And then
I mean, choice is your favorite trigger.
and then a quintessential quintuplets, 8 choice Ichika once more.
Man, again, like, so
People they eat. I don't know what it is.
listen, here's
The select few who are
It's-
lucky enough to be treated well by her.
it's like the meme, right? If I had a nickel for every Ichika that topped, I'd have 2.
No, you'd have 3, but we'll get there.
I
Dog.
didn't know about a third one.
Did you know there were 2 in
There were
the top
2
8?
there were
in
2
Rosemont.
in
All right,
Chicago.
I'd have 3, which is not a lot, but it's weird that it happened 3 times.
So in 4th place, we had an Alice Kirito, the Kirito that Brandon mismentioned.
Yeah.
In 3rd place, we had Stock Soul Escanor. In 2nd place, we had 8 choice quintessential quintuplets.
But this was not the
notably
normal
not
list.
playing the level 3 early play combo.
Yes, that's right. I do
It was-
remember being told this,
It was not like-
and I've never tried the deck like that. But again, like it's like I mentioned in the hotel. I imagine you just hold on to certain pieces.
It just probably streamlines utility a
So,
lot more.
it actually just looks the same as the normal 8 choice list actually.
Yeah.
You just take out 4 cards.
So it essentially plays the Ichika that's a Yotsuba.
Oh, okay.
It plays the 4 quintuplets, the 5 quintuplets card, the new one.
Yeah.
It plays the red Ichika. It plays 2 of the red Ichikas, the 3/2 from set 1 and the 3/2 from set 2, the one that changes.
Okay. And then in first place, my buddy Clinton took the entire thing
I
with
thought that was
8,
your dad.
Oh, sure.
That is his name.
With 8 gate Shizu Murin.
Yeah.
Which Slime taking 2 out of the 3 of these first North American events has definitely raised some concerns and
Alright,
some eyebrows.
Hold on, the slime in Rosemont. That is a different.
That's not fair.
That's a different breed of human. Okay, but compared to how much slime I saw at the top tables, it does not surprise me that there were at least three slime players in that
Yeah,
top 8.
the deck's good. The deck's consistent, and it's one of those where it's just like it can focus so much on the resource collection and like the ability to like stockpile all of this stuff that when it gets to the finishing turns and it doesn't even need to look for a climax, it's just one of those things where it's like the deck is able to carry itself. And so like it's definitely raising a few eyebrows, and a lot of people are going, is Slime actually the best deck in this format? And I think there's a good argument to just say yes.
Except for when you play it.
Oh, except for when I play
think
it.
what it comes down to. So this is what I was saying before. We play a different meta than other countries do.
Mhm.
In Japan, Slime is the best deck in the format, but that's because there were bans to hit the other decks.
Everything got hit hard.
Yes. And people are now playing more Slime. I think we're doing it more in America. One, because we have the Slime father himself, Clinton.
Yeah.
But we also have people like they're putting Lunar New Year's in these Slime decks.
Wow.
Okay, leave Tucker out of this.
yeah.
Leave Tucker out of this.
No, it's not just him. His buddy, he played 4 Lunar New Year's, 4 mirroring combos. Like
What?
people are doing crazy stuff with Slime because Slime has such a build where you don't need a finisher because Mirren can get you there, and you play all finishers. Dragonite Millum, you play the Shizu, not the Shion. That on placement, like the next, if it were to cancel, it deals 1. But also if you pay 2 and then dump the rest of your stock, it deals 4.
And pitch 2.
And pitch it, and it deals
But it's
and
an
then
off finisher that deals
the
4.
old Venus Maru.
Venus. Yeah.
Manny Morrow.
Good old
like,
Venus.
That card is I play Yo. I know what that's like.
Yeah.
I know it's like to reveal top card and burn. If my Yo said +1 in the soul, Jake would never play me in Weiss.
Nope. Not at all.
I think there was a time I once played Sunshine against Jake, and he said, how many refreshing? I said 8 climax, and I said 5 zeros.
Yeah,
is what I told him.
It is one of those things that Slime is a very dominant deck right now. And it's because right now, when a lot of people look at it, the only way you can really feasibly beat it is just by pushing damage. And even that sometimes just doesn't work because the Slime deck is usually well set up to have enough cards out of deck to be able to make those big damage turns less impactful, except for me. But you know, when you look at it, just like at the end of the day, it's just like nothing is going to dominate Slime in this meta. When you look at like things like Askigura, it's just like, you know, you have a very, very, very impactful finisher, but you could just not push it to that finishing turn, and they could never see the light of day on that last turn. Slime, their finishing turn technically starts at level 2. As soon as they set up, and as soon as they start getting stock and getting all those resources to hand and to stock, there's really not much you can do. You can try stock swapping it, but you know, you'll maybe get like 1 or 2 climaxes in there. You can try like making like the deck, you know, like abysmal for them. It can play out of it.
I do think though, when it comes to the next few tournaments, I think we're gonna see some Overlord tops. Like I said, I watched them eat 16, but I think it's because the set was still fairly new. People didn't get much. They only had 2 weeks to really play
people are
test
still
it.
green on the set.
People need to play test it. I'm going to be playtesting Overlord over these next 2 weeks because I might even play it in my
like we've looked at it, like as I was writing the synopsis on the deck, like I was just like, how is this deck bad by any means, or like how is this deck not like in the forefront of people's minds for taking over the meta right now?
I played against it because someone wanted to see if they wanted to bring it instead of Alice. So I said, yeah, I'll play against it. It's pretty interesting because I was like, okay, he's like at 1-4. He clocks to level 2 because of the Vampire Bride. I'm like,
Thanks, Shaltier.
and I'm like, okay, so that's how they play it really
Well,
quickly.
not even that. They clock, but they also get 2 cards.
They
too.
also
they
do
get to draw 2
they also-
cards.
no, they get to do it up to 3 times.
Yeah, you can draw 3 cards, but like they said, they clock 2. He got to draw 2 cards off
Yeah.
that.
Well, yeah, he went to 2, played thing, and he had the board wipe set up. I know in Slime you have to set up the board wipe a little differently, but it's the fact that you can set up 2 Einses at plus 45. They don't get reversed, and then they both look at you and go, kill your Shuna, pay 4, kill the rest of your board, and then you're like, yeah, so that happened. And then
And now I want to cry.
yes, Slime has good compression, but like the way Overlord can deal with that is just, all right, pay 1, pitch 1, deal 1. You want to cancel? No.
Well, like,
and
the-
deal
Right.
incremental damage. That's the thing of how you deal with a compression deck is you got to deal incrementals, because if you deal 3 on it, they're gonna cancel the 3
Mhm.
most likely, unless you don't.
Unless you don't and you realize that Weiss is a game.
Yeah.
Weiss is a game.
yeah,
But
it's
I think we'll
definitely a
see
brutal deck.
more Overlord going into New York because people will now have a month on this deck, and I feel like people will be like, okay, these are good plays I'm gonna have to make. People are we're forced right now to play anti-change counters because of Overlord.
Yeah, that's the only reason
Because
we play them
you
right now.
have to kill the eyes on your opponent's turn.
Yeah.
That's the only
And
way to deal with
If
it.
the Einz
Yeah.
player sees you add the thing, you're not killing it because guess what? They're gonna side
Or,
and
like-
side and side.
Or like if the Eins player is at level 2 and you're at level 1.
Yeah.
Unless you're one of the select few sets that has an anti-change at level 1, it's just like you can't do anything until
Yeah, it's
you're at
tough.
level 2.
I think we'll see more of that. I still think Slime's gonna be dominant, but I think New York again, another dominant group that plays very heavy meta decks. Like we're gonna see Alice return. We're probably gonna see Overlord. You're gonna see your
Well, the
Slimes.
Northeast is also just such a vast
Yeah,
player pool, and the amount of people willing to go out to the Northeast is huge.
it's so I think with that coming up, I think Overlord is going to probably make a scene.
So, since we mentioned New York, do we want to talk about our plans? Do you have a deck?
I don't. I'm like I said,
Yeah.
I have multiple things I'm testing.
Yeah. Jake, are you gonna run it back with slime? or-
I am going back with Slime as like demoralizing
Yeah.
as Chicago was, and I don't even want to say demoralizing, just like shocking as it was to me to go that unfortunate. I think that if I could at least get 2 wins and try to break even, like, and then just go like cool, and then go back to watching football, I think I'd be happy with that.
That's all that matters.
I'm just putting out there, not saying I don't love my Itsuki deck. I love that deck so much. I just don't like playing the same deck in multiple events, so I like trying something new.
which is reasonable.
But the best part is that if I can't figure anything out in the 2 weeks,
All reliable.
the best backup plan I have right now.
Nice.
all right,
I never felt like I was on the top of the world playing that deck.
Brandon.
I was doing
Brandon-
a lot of things.
you're going. I'm assuming.
Yes.
No, he's not.
First
I'm
BCS
No.
this year.
Woo! Yeah,
No.
listen, it's because we're gonna go out with a whole like battle bus of people, so like I have to go.
I mean,
Well, hopefully
me
a battle
and
bus.
Jason are gonna be.
Oh yeah,
going.
me, Jason. I am Jason.
Yeah.
Me, Alejandro, our friend Tucker, and his friend Chris. I think we'll be there. We'll be there on Friday.
Are you gonna wait? Is,
We're-
is-
we're gonna
We're
be-
gonna be playing Vanguard.
we're gonna be
do you
playing
know if
Vanguard.
Dave Austin's going? If he's gonna go?
Honestly,
Who cares?
Oh,
I'm
wow.
scared
Who
to
cares?
know
Who
if he's
cares?
going because all I'm gonna get is, yo, you got these cards, and
Yeah.
I'm gonna be like,
I'm like, no.
Bro, we're in New York right now.
We're-
Like,
we're already in New York.
But we plan to get there probably the first day because we want to play Vanguard.
Yeah.
Especially because, I mean, I really don't know what I'm playing in Vanguard, but you want to play some EP,
Yeah, I play some EP.
some
you know?
EP, some EP Vanguard.
Listen,
I mean, I'm not going to be playing Vanguard. I will probably be there Saturday.
listen.
So
The new set for Vanguard just came out. It has probably one of my more favorite actual
So
Vanguard.
are you playing
decks.
Vanguard?
I'm looking to do it. Maybe we have a whole group go.
Alright.
You should do it. You should.
Yeah.
Just because it's at a hotel. Just book a night
all
at
right,
the
all
hotel.
right. Well, this isn't shoot for the crit trigger, right?
Yeah,
shoot,
shoot-
No,
shoot for the crit trigger.
Soup for the crit trigger, right? Ain't
There-
nothing like that. So,
Yeah,
so-
super for the over trigger, right?
oh god.
Oh
no.
yeah, there it is.
So what? Do you know what you're playing?
We don't know what Brandon's
No,
playing.
sh-
Gravidia.
no.
Oh, he knows a Vanguard name.
First of
That's a
all,
Vanguard card.
That's
how dare you? I hate that
Unbelievable.
deck.
Unbelievable.
Oh, that has ruined Brandon's dream.
It's
a couple
literally
times.
ruined me at least 3
That's fair.
times.
Okay, all right. So, what are you playing for
Skill diff.
Weiss Schwarz?
Listen, the reason
So we
I
don't
I-
know what Brandon's playing,
no,
and we're gonna
no,
keep it that way.
no, hey.
So on to the next
Wow.
topic.
okay, whatever,
of,
Jason.
Of this is we're just gonna probably move on, and I think that might be the end. I don't think.
Yeah,
I think that's it.
I'm playing 12 standby, by the way.
Oh, you're
Oh,
playing.
okay.
you're going back to some.
Oh, you're playing 12 standby
Avatar
Avatar?
because you know
Let's
what?
go.
No.
Wow.
Because-
no.
Because you know
Okay.
the problem is that he doesn't like Ichika's because Ichika would like abuse him. Nino's
That's
just
the point.
Nino-
So here's
Nino's
the thing.
Just toxic.
Here's the thing, right? Here's the thing. For whatever reason, Ichika says no. Get away from me.
Yeah,
no,
she-
she says beg.
And I'm like,
She just puts a vice around your neck and just
Says,
says,
"You're coming with me."
yeah, right.
like,
But for whatever reason, Nino's never really let me down.
That's fair.
Nino's like the most consistently like, well, performing might be the word deck for me. Like every time I've played it, I've never really had
Nino
like a.
is consistent.
I've never been like, man, that felt really bad. It was like that Nino just fell apart. Like it just didn't work.
it's probably got like one of the lowest fail rates of a deck could have.
I mean, yeah.
Man, I gotta play clock kicks just because I like kicking Nino's to clock.
Oh no! Don't kick Nino.
I did it. Listen, I did it again.
Don't-
I did it in Rosemont with the 2-1 with the 2-1 Itsuki.
Don't kick
I
Nino.
did kick a Nino to clock.
Listen, my favorite part about like last year of like last year's BCSs that we went
was
to.
getting sharked by Jake. Like, or,
Well,
I did not shark him. He just lost.
well, listen, was playing like the mirror match back then,
oh,
and then just like winning,
oh, really?
just winning the mirror match.
I like when I see the mirror match and I win.
well,
Well,
listen,
it's because your deck's prettier.
my deck is prettier, but like at Springfest, like a Newark,
That's true.
when I played against Nino, and I was
Yeah.
playing, what was it? It was door choice,
Let's go.
Based.
choice Quint.
Based.
Yeah.
So Itsuki level 1,
It was set one choice too.
set one Ichika level 3, and the guy just played Nino against me, and I was like, oh yeah, now we know what's happening. Now we know what's about to
All right.
happen.
Well, I'm glad you're back on Nino because I listen. I don't blame him. That deck is fun. I just sometimes just can't play standby for that long.
I mean, I remember the one event that you played with
Dude.
Nino. You said, "I am never playing this deck ever again."
But it's funny because it's not because of the deck. It's just because I don't like standby.
yeah, the one in Chicago last year, alst a year to date.
Yeah,
well,
you
actually,
played Nino.
actually a year.
Yeah,
That's
you
like
played
a little
Nino,
over a
and
year.
then after you're like, I'm never playing
Yeah,
this
and then when I
freaking deck
picked up the
again.
deck, like before, I was like, yeah,
Nino looking kind of cute
the
though.
deck is so good. But like,
Oh,
I
deck
get,
is so good.
I
Deck
get
is
to
so
eight-
good.
I'll get to 8 rounds and be like, please end my suffering. I can't go standby. 2-2
Listen,
Nino, swing.
Dan ended your suffering for you.
Listen, he didn't want to play it either.
Listen, some people. That's how it is for some people. Like for me,
I
like,
just can't
for
play
me-
standby.
for me, I have fun playing that deck.
Like
so.
if I brought the Hololive 8 standby, because we all know I really like that deck. Like
50-pound babies.
50-pound, 50-pound babies.
Luna, Himamori Luna.
The baby.
The baby.
50
Let's
pound
go.
the baby.
Each one is 50 pounds.
I would be like, I love this deck, and then 8 rounds later of playing 8 standby, I'm like, God, please get this deck away from me.
I could not imagine playing that deck for 8 rounds.
I can't. It just standby. I can't just look at standby and be like that. Like I would love to play Overlord 8 standby. I just can't play 8 standby for 8 consistent rounds.
I
If
play
we go
4.
if I heard, yeah, there's like 60 players, there's gonna be 5 round. Yo, someone toss me Nino or like Luna right now.
Jason just goes on deck lock.
Well, I will switch so
fast. Switch the deck. We show up to New York and you're just like, why is there like 40 people here?
Deck switch. All right. Well, thanks for joining us for this stockpot of our return from BCS. We'll definitely catch you guys soon, and we're definitely gonna make more content like we did that last video. We have a couple of things I think possibly planned, but we'll think it over because we did like the amount of views we got from it. And thank you everybody for watching that videos and for the people who did comment on it. Like we really appreciate it, and I'm glad you guys liked the video.
Yeah, we'll definitely try to release more content soon. It's definitely on our docket to do. Like videos like that take time, and we appreciate everyone who enjoyed it, and hopefully we'll have it out sooner than this. Hopefully this stock bot will be out sooner as well, and I don't lose the audio.
Please, Jake, don't do that.
But if you haven't seen the video, it's probably going to be on the screen somewhere around here, so you can view it and enjoy it.
All right, thanks everyone. Catch you guys
Alright.
later.
Goodbye, soup.
Hey guys, thanks for watching the stock pot. If you haven't seen it already, here's the everything you need to know about BCS 2023 video. If you enjoy our content, we'd appreciate it if you hit the like and subscribe button. Once again, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.